Welcome to the Daily Exchange. We're back, guys, back in Sydney, Australia, and we're talking about stablecoins, the KRWb with Alex Friedberg. We'll see you guys right after this. Welcome back. Yes, we are back, Sydney, Australia style. We've got a guest with us today, Alex Friedberg, co-founder of BXB Capital, who has the Twitter handle KRWb_token with his new Korean won stablecoin. Alex, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Awesome to be here.
Now, just a bit of background, Alex runs BXB Capital and has made headlines last week by announcing the launch of the one-to-one Korean won stablecoin named KRWb. And we're going to talk all about this today. Here's the Medium post if you want to check out the details, guys. Korea is obviously one of the largest markets of cryptocurrency, so to be the first to market with a Korean won stablecoin is quite an achievement. Congratulations, Alex, on launching the KRWb.
Awesome. I mean, efforts all from the team, all around. We're super excited about it too.
Awesome. And now, Alex, you also manage a blockchain venture advisory with a number of different investments. You're also very much involved you're based out of Singapore currently. So
Yep.
you have a good view on the Asian markets, and we'll talk about that later in the show. And we're also going to talk all about stablecoins, but let's just begin talking about the 101 of stablecoins. What is a stablecoin, Alex?
They're very simple. They can be simply explained as a specific type of cryptocurrency that have some type of underlying economic design that minimizes the effects of price volatility. So for stablecoins that are tied to a specific asset, an underlying value, they're usually pegged to that value. And ideally, because of the economic factors of how the product is designed, the price of the token usually moves in line with the price of the underlying asset.
Excellent. So it's really, it's one-to-one pegged, I guess, with an asset.
Not always. I mean, I think stablecoin 2.0 is still super early in the stablecoin industry, if we want to call it. There are people who offer one-to-one backing like us. We view that as one of the leading type of mechanisms. There are also people that offer different types of collateralized rates. And then there are also some stablecoins that do it purely based on some type of algorithm, no backing. It's early to see which one is going to be the best one. Obviously, we've placed our bets on one-to-one backing. It can be very transparent, everything like that. So that's
awesome. So why is a stablecoin different to other cryptocurrencies?
Sorry, what was the question?
Why is a stablecoin different to other cryptocurrencies?
I think it's just there are two primary differences. One is obviously the underlying value. If you look at Bitcoin, Ethereum, Ether specifically, they don't necessarily have a tangible underlying asset. It's the market forces that place value on the applications of what you can do with them, or the speculative values over the next 15, 20, 100 years. On a stable coin, it's specifically, for the majority of the stable coins, specifically back to an asset. So some can be classified as securities depending on the regulation, others, depending on where you are in the world, can be a utility, but it's all about how it links to that underlying asset.
Cool. And what are stablecoins used for?
They can be used for a whole range of different applications. The first ones that usually come to people's mind are, hey, it's like a virtual dollar in my wallet, right? I can save my money. I store value in stablecoins. And then the second application from there is obviously cross-border payments or paying for services or value transfer between people. But because you have this type of programmable money with the cost effectiveness of how you can transfer it in the crypto economy. There are also things like for KRWb, which I'm sure we'll get into later, like FX hedging and other types of financial products like lending and loans and et cetera.
Cool. And why does the price of a stablecoin stay stable?
I think if you're trying to understand the difference on why does one stablecoin exist and why are there 5 different types of stablecoins that exist for US dollars even, that I think is the premier question. And every project has their hypothesis on, with this type of economic design, this is how we implement price stability. So for example, for us, we believe that having the underlying assets being backed one-to-one, right, pegging the token to that underlying collateral is a market force that will allow it to stay price stable. Obviously, there is a big component in terms of the minting and the redemptions, and people want to, buy up that stable coin if it ever goes below the underlying value, right? If for example, you could redeem or get $1 for a stable coin on an open market, if you ever had the ability to buy it at 50 cents, you could very easily make 50 cents. So anytime they fall out of price based on the underlying value, as long as there's that open market, people are buying and selling at a profit, or, having that type of arbitrage activity to maintain the price stability.
Awesome. Let's talk about KRWb now. Tell us a bit about KRWb. Give us a bit of an introduction to it. What is it?
Yeah, it is the world's first one-to-one backed stablecoin to the Korean won specifically. So we have bank accounts onshore where we are holding fiat KRW, and every time we or one of our issuance partners deposits KRW into our treasury, we will mint a corresponding KRWb token. And it's very, very much as simple as that. KRWb is a utility token that tracks how much KRW is on deposit with us. And, from there, we try and build a slew of different use cases, but that's pretty much it.
Okay. And how much KRW is available?
We have a process to mint more anytime someone wants it, right? So if one of our issuance partners, or we have people in the open market who want to buy more, obviously we've started with kind of a small treasury to start that we've kind of just minted ourselves from our own capital. We have not taken the approach of pre-mining or minting coins that are not backed. So we're looking for, a stable growth that makes sure that all of the treasury is backed, all the coins are backed one-to-one by the treasury, and we have a process, that leverages third-party auditors to create as much as needed for the market.
So how do you ensure the transparency of the backing of the coin?
Great question. And I think this is where a lot of the stable coins come under fire on, you say it's this, how do you actually prove it? And we put out a separate Medium article that really talks about the details of our pledge to transparency. But very simply put, we have a third-party auditor that will look at our bank accounts on a monthly or weekly or regular basis based on, what the market kind of ends up deeming need for transparency. And we will publish those audit reports on krwb.io. So we have a whole section on our website that talks about transparency. That's where we'll put the monthly or, whatever cadence of reports we'll put there. We'll have it available in Korean, of course, and we'll do English so that the whole world can see the transparency without having to understand Korean.
Okay. And where does the KRW trade? Where is it listed?
We launched just a couple weeks ago, and we're very happy to already be trading on 4 places. So we launched first on AirSwap, which is a decentralized exchange. Then we launched on a Korean exchange called Koblik, and they're great because they're a KRW gateway. So if people in Korea have KRW and they want to buy KRWb, that's a great on-exchange place to do so. We also trade on the global markets on bquant, and there's a whole slew of pairs offered on bquant, and we have a USDT pair and a Bitcoin pair there. And then most recently, we also listed on a exchange called Fordex, which is specifically a decentralized exchange for stable coins only.
Cool, very cool. And what sort of demand do you see for KRWb? Like, where do you see the demand coming from?
Right now, a lot of the initial demand is actually from different OTC shops, and definitely ones that deal with clients all over the world. But at the end of the day, it's usually people who have some underlying exposure to the Korean markets, whether it's foreign firms or foreign parties abroad that want access to the Korean crypto economy, or local Koreans and Korean entities who also want an avenue to participate in the crypto economy there.
Okay, and I guess in terms of regulation, tell us about how how you sort of approach regulation with a stablecoin.
Yeah, this is very tricky, right? And I think part of the preface to this question is that the Korean market specifically has a lot of capital controls. It's very known that it's very hard to do business with Korea outside of Korea, just because of the localization needs, the capital controls, the banking restrictions, everything like that. So this process for us has been 8+ months of legal due diligence, really trying to figure out how do stablecoins fit within the current regulatory landscape. And there is no, I think just like everyone is trying to understand this in the US, in Switzerland, in Singapore, there's, most of the governments have not released specific regulations. And so, from our stance, we've done as much as possible to make sure that we are operating well within the bounds of all of the current financial existing regulations, and then trying to predict forward where do we think that the stablecoin or cryptocurrency blockchain regulations will go, and we want to be on the right side of that so that we can have the right discussions with the regulators.
Okay. And this is a bit of a side question, but how do stablecoins, I guess, in particular your stablecoin, make money?
The model is pretty simple. Because our stablecoin is all about tracking how many deposits are in our treasury, our business model relies around how do we basically get the risk-free interest rate on our treasury and use that to fuel our business activities. So although the money on deposit in our treasury cannot be used by us, right? Like, it is the property of our issuance partners. Our company cannot take that and go do whatever we want with it, but we do have the rights to the interest that is kicked off from $100 million sitting in a bank account. And we hope that that interest rate, as well as other types of business lines for monetization, whether it's lending or minting and redemption fees, right? There are tons of other opportunities that we have, and we hope the combination of those allows us to fuel back into the business.
Let's talk to us about crypto loans, Alex. So do you have any plans to do a crypto loan in KRWb?
It is definitely come up. I mean, people have absolutely asked us about doing something like this, especially because features like this are not typically available inside of Korea currently. And so I think there is a great market opportunity, whether it's done by us directly or it's basically just offered by the market as we give people the ability to use KRWb for whatever they want. There absolutely is a possibility to do, crypto collateralized lending, where we give, we take 1 Bitcoin and we give 50% of that value in KRWb, right? There are a lot of different models, and we've had interest from lot of parties on how can we make that happen.
Very cool. Just going back, I guess there's been, I guess you talked about regulation, and I know it is quite challenging, Korean capital controls and things like that. Like, how have you managed to, I guess, have you sought approval from some regulator or, I guess talk us through the sort of.
So the process is try and do absolutely everything we can to prepare ourselves. And that ranges from making sure that we have great advisors on board who have good understanding of what's going on in the Korean investments world and the banking sector, to bring on an ex-KPMG and Deloitte kind of tax accounting person to lead up our compliance and evaluate our internal process, making sure that we work with multiple sets of law firms. I think we've used 3 different law firms to talk about what is going on in the Korean landscape, how is this perceived, making sure that we have the right legal support letters, and then trying to do our best to outreach to the Korean government. I think the Korean government is right now in the process of trying to define where their stance is on crypto, and we expect that more conversations can be had and more information will be released by the Korean government, different agencies in 2019.
Okay. Big story today over the last few days, Gemini Dollar controversy. We've seen accusations that accounts have been prevented from redeeming the Gemini Dollar stablecoin and potentially accounts being closed. I think we've got an article here anonymously released by OTC desks. And I'll just quote from CoinDesk here. It says, in one instance, email correspondence obtained by CoinDesk shows an OTC trader based in Latin America had his account closed after he informed Gemini that he planned to redeem several $1 million of GUSD. A major cryptocurrency exchange, speaking on condition of anonymity, tested to the desk professionalism, reported that it was good standing. Still, Gemini said in a statement to the trader that a review determined the account must be closed and that it was not able to elaborate on the specifics for this decision. When contacted by CoinDesk, Gemini declined to comment on the incidents. Now, there is a second case as well of this happening as well with the redemption of the Gemini Dollar. This is pretty intense and obviously creates a bit of spice. We were just recently in New York City and Gemini aggressively advertising. Joel, if you want to spin up the photos we took of the Gemini ads, which were kind of cool, actually kind of fun.
Yeah.
Bit of New York City. So we've got the revolution needs rules. We've got them on top of taxis there. These are the photos we actually took on our phone, which is really cool. Alex, I guess, for yourself as a stablecoin operator, what do you make of all of this? Particularly, how are you ensuring redeemability of coins and tokens?
It's definitely a big topic on where a stablecoin can either make or break the trust that they have with the market. And for us, I think the end goal is make sure that anyone can always have the easiest avenue to redeem, a stablecoin at 1-to-1 ratio with the treasury directly. Obviously, within our situation in Korea and dealing with the different laws and regulations, we opted to start by centering that with very clear legal bounds with what we call issuance partners. So for us, the issuance partners are, guys like QCP Capital, who have been signed on as the first issuance partner, who have the legal abilities and the contracts and the structure in place so that, when they mint, we can't block their redemption, right? The money is not ours to say no to. And so if they come to us and they say, hey, I wanna redeem what I've minted with you guys, it's very clear cut for us. And then as we work towards better layers of better layers of market liquidity and open redemptions. It's about saying, right now you can ideally go do this on exchange or go to an OTC desk and kind of trade that there. But finding ways to make sure that we can offer, just like Gemini does or like TUSD, the ability to go do that on their website, or a simple form that you fill out and you want to be able to offer redemptions.
Okay, fantastic. And tell us about there are other coins and models out there as well. So there are algorithmic ones, there are DAOs, there are but we've noticed with some of these, there seems to be either a premium, or I think Tether trading right now at 98.86 cents, which always confuses me. Tell us, what's your view of stablecoins and this phenomena where they either gain a premium or a discount?
It's all about the economic design in place that the project uses to implement their price stability. So basically, people who have the ability to issue new ones or buy it from the market and redeem will take into account all of the prices along the way that it would cost to redeem. So for example, if you were to offer or if you were to charge 2% to redeem USDT, the market will probably price that in. And even though the underlying assets are pegged to $1, if it costs me 2% to redeem, I will probably want to pay 98 cents so that when I redeem it at 1-to-1, I only get 98 cents back. So it's really about, when you look at why stablecoins trade at different prices, especially across markets, like let's look at the price of TUSD or USDT inside of Korea. Those trade against the price comparisons to the underlying FX of US dollar to Korean won, because people are assuming that if I buy a US dollar backed coin, there will probably be some fees and costs associated if I were to switch it to Korean won. And so the market is very savvy, and this is where arbitrage will come into play and price the coins at, basically the cost of redemptions.
Cool. Let's talk about use cases with stablecoins. What's your view? Do you think, stablecoins will take the place of coins like XRP, which is and IBM's WorldWire?
I don't think so. I think that there is a place and different types of use cases within different ecosystems for many stablecoins. And I think this comes from us thinking a lot when we were conceptualizing this business months and months ago, when USDT was one of the only players on the market. And people were saying, there's already a USD stablecoin. Why do we need anything else? Now people are saying there's so many USD stablecoins. Why do we even need a Korean won-backed stablecoin? And I think in Korea, the Korean market wants to denominate in Korean won. And likewise, in an XRP ecosystem, there are probably use cases that are best denominated in XRP. So I think it's all about that product market fit. Will a Korean won backed stable coin like KRWb replace a US dollar backed stable coin? I don't think so, because the use cases are completely different. US dollars are the world reserve currency, so the applications there are very different. But in Korea, people don't buy things with US dollars. They buy things and they price things in Korean won.
Okay. Tell us about, do you think there's going to be a major national state-backed stablecoin? Some, a reserve bank
Are you talking about globally or for specific countries?
for specific countries, maybe to start with? But could be,
Yeah, I mean,
globally?
absolutely. Like, let's look at the Iran situation. So the U.S. has imposed sanctions on Iran, and that means that they can't necessarily operate through the traditional banking SWIFT network. They've released multiple statements on saying that they're absolutely exploring some type of national cryptocurrency, digital currency, so that they can make sure that the people within their country, have access to basic goods and needs when dealing with cross-border trade. So, that's an extreme case, right? But I think, you look at China has made statements on, prospects of digitizing the RMB. And I think there is other prospects from, other government agencies or countries in the works as well.
Okay. Tell us, what do you think what does a stablecoin 2.0 look like? What's the future of stablecoins?
It's so hard because there are so many different directions, right? Hypothetically, maybe algorithm-backed stablecoins are the key, and that's what ends up taking off. I think when we look at where do we think this is going, we think that there are a few underlying themes that will continue to take off and will really represent stablecoins. 100% will be transparency. And the other one will be enough stability and liquidity that attracts institutional investors. I think there was a recent article put out by the guys behind XBTO, and they're going to launch a stablecoin clearinghouse, which basically means that they believe that something is happening. And really what the market needs right now is more liquidity, better ability to transfer from one asset into a stablecoin, and also transfer, the values of stablecoins between each other, trade the values between each other. So I think that, in the next year is coming. And then if we look beyond that, once they're adopted by these different financial institutions, I would really hope that they start being a bigger part of individual end users' lives. If I can easily pay something that is super affordable, less transaction fees than a credit card, or less transaction fees than sending a bank wire, why would I not want to use those for receiving my salary and then paying for food or ordering Amazon?
Very cool. Very cool. Tell us about, let's talk about the Asian markets right now. I know that you spent a lot of time and traded a lot there. Does sort of the Asian markets have a preference for coins?
I've lived in Asia for 4.5 years, spent a lot of time in Korea, of course, and then more recently my time in Singapore. And the markets here are just so different depending on which country it is. And there are certain areas that place emphasis on the coins that have the top liquidity, right? I just want Bitcoin, or I just want Ether because that allows me to get into the crypto economy. And then you look at places like Korea, and they love altcoins. They like the newest and hottest coin specifically because they're very speculative in Korea. So I don't think there is one coin for all of Asia that has people's attention. I think the key to the Asian markets is really understanding localization. And that is something that I learned when I was working at Grab. And, they have offices all over Southeast Asia, but the operations in each country are always different. And I think it's the same with the crypto economy. We make cross-border transfer easier, but the way that cross-border transfer then takes off within Vietnam or within Thailand or within Singapore or Korea will all be different. And it's very exciting to see what the users in each of those countries will end up doing.
Very cool. And, are there any, what would we say the top 3 coins right now, the top hot coins in Asia are right now?
Oh, man. Everyone likes to, I mean, I hate to talk about speculation. There's with all of the upcoming forks for the Ethereum platform, I think there's definitely been some interest and understanding on, what's going to go on there. People obviously talk about whenever a coin has like halving events for rewards. People are looking there. Grin, everyone seems to be talking about Grin and other types of privacy coins. Yeah, I'll give a shout out to the Republic Protocol guys and their REN token for their dark pool exchange. There's a lot of people, especially here in Singapore and on the kind of more finance side, that are really looking forward to those to what those guys are doing as well.
Okay. Alex, tell us, you're obviously a trader as well. You've done a lot of trading in your time. What's your view on the market right now?
So I come from finance. I don't come from finance. I come from tech. So I don't have, the best technical understanding, but kind of the way that we operate with our firm and, the way that we've done our investments is definitely based on heavy technicals. We try to blend some fundamentals in there, and obviously this is not investment advice for anyone, but disclaimer, right?
We don't do financial advice. No financial.
But right now is definitely a time of consolidation, right? I don't think that there's a clear answer either way. I wouldn't be surprised if we continue to see price depreciation, especially for a lot of the altcoins that built a lot of this supposed value in a hype market. And now when they're actually trying to build something, or people actually trying to go back and look at the fundamentals, there's nothing there. So there's still going to be, if we equate this to the .com bust, I think there is going to be a lot more bust. And on the flip side, this is allowing other guys who have received significant amounts of funding to build some really incredible things that will drive more value in the future. If we talk about our long perspective, we like to operate certain activities that we do on, long and short, but overall, we're very excited about where the industry is going, and we want to participate in the upside long term.
Very cool. What are your predictions for 2019?
Regulation and the improvement of liquidity and the improvement of reliability for trading. There are a lot of limitations actually for different financial institutions who even would consider entering the space because of the infrastructure in place. So the exchanges like Binance, Huobi, and many more are investing in more reliable APIs, better transparency, making sure that, claims that, hey, there's fake volume, they need to be able to answer things like that. Is it really fake? And if so, depending on what regulation lands, people can be in a lot of trouble for doing activities like wash trading and things like that, which is not okay in the traditional finance world. So there's going to be a lot of stability that I think lays a lot of the groundwork for adoption amongst the everyday person.
Very cool. And what's coming up for KRWb? What should everyone look out for?
We have some exciting announcements in the works for what exchanges we'll be listing on next. We're also trying to line up some exciting partnerships for people who can help us offer great market liquidity and distribution on KRWb. And other than that, we just, with our kind of pledge to transparency that I was talking about before, we want people to ask us what they want to know about our founders, because that's also something that's very important. So, over the next couple of weeks, we want to put out some specific highlight articles on who am I? Who is JJ? What is Jiho's background? Why is Juan in KRWb, and why does he believe in it so much? So I think, we're excited to give more insight on who we are, what we're doing, And we definitely welcome that engagement from the community. What do they want to know about us?
Very cool. And lastly, it's a question we ask everyone on the show. Alex, what do you think the price of Bitcoin will be New Year's Eve 2019? This is not financial advice.
This is not financial advice.
Just merely a prediction. Do you have a price in US dollars?
So I guess my cheat answer will be no, because we denominate in Korean won. So I have maybe a price in Korean won we hope will be higher than it is today.
Wonderful. Awesome stuff. Alex, thank you so much for joining us on the Daily Exchange. We wish you the best of luck with the new announcements coming up and the new things you're working on. And guys, do follow Alex. You can see his Twitter handle there. It is yeah. KRWb_token. Follow Alex. You can hear the latest announcements and check it out. All right, guys, do subscribe and do follow us. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Yeah.